Hello everyone. So today we'll learn about Spring Boot Actuator. Spring Boot Actuator is a tool that helps us in managing and maintaining our application. It gives you an insight of your project, your application that is running in production, like how many beans are running in the backend, your application is running on which environment, what is the status of server, is it up or down. Okay, so these kind of insights it will provide you, what all metrics are there. So Actuator is very helpful how your application is doing in production environment. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, if you want to include Actuator in a project, so you can do it through two ways. One is you get it in uh, at the time of project generation through dependencies, like here. Okay, let me do that. Like if you want to generate a new project and you want Actuator also in that, so it can be added. Okay, so at the time of generating, you can add a dependency like Spring Boot Actuator and generate the project. Okay, but if you don't have done it earlier and you want to include Actuator in your project, so the simple thing is add one dependency in pom.xml. Okay, that is Spring Boot Starter Actuator. Okay, so we need to add this dependency in pom.xml and save it. Now let's restart the server. So you can see in console it's saying starting Tomcat server, started server on 8080 port. It is exposing one endpoint, that is Actuator. Alright, so Actuator is up and running. Now how to access it? So to access Actuator, you need to do localhost 8080 Actuator. Okay, so this is the URL for accessing Actuator on the port on which your application is up and running. Okay, so by default, so that's how Actuator gives you response in JSON format. So this is a raw format, that's how it comes by default, but I have JSON formatter extension installed in my Chrome, so that's why I can see it in this clean and neat and clean format. Okay, so these are the URLs, you can click on that. So by like health, so this is one of the metrics that Actuator provides us by default. So if you click on the health, it is saying the status of the application is up. Okay, so if you want to see more metrics in it, okay, like these are very less metrics, like by health we can only see what server is running on your if the server is running or down, right? So if you want to see more details about Actuator, so what we need to do, we first stop the server, go to application.properties file. Okay, and we have to enable the endpoints. Okay, by this. Okay, so this is management.endpoints web.exposure .include equals star. So if you give star, so that means you want to enable all the endpoints in your Actuator, and you can also provide specific name of your endpoints like beans, health, metrics. So it will include only those three endpoints in Actuator. Okay, we'll see that. So for now we'll see star. So let's restart our application. Okay, so now let's look at the console. So in console it is saying the starting Tomcat server, it is up and running on port 8080, and for Actuator it is saying exposing 13 endpoints beneath base path Actuator. So that means overall 13 endpoints are active in our application, this current application, and we can access it from here. Reload localhost 8080 Actuator path URL. Okay, so you can see all of these are the endpoints. Okay, and we can access them by clicking on these they are links. Okay, so this is how it comes by default, but with JSON formatter I can see it in this neat and clean format. So let's look at the beans first. Click on it. So these are beans are running in this application. So some are by default up and running, some beans are that I have created. So this is like hello world controller. This is what we have created in our previous examples for creating a simple hello world example. So this is one of the bean that is up and running in this application right now. If we create more beans, so all of them will should come up here. Okay, if they don't have any compile essentials, rest of the beans are default beans in it. Okay, next. Okay, next is health. We have already seen it, so it is saying that your application is up and running. Okay, let's look at the environment. Environment tells us about the environment in your application is running, like application is running on port 8080, which version of Java is there. Okay, what is the class path of Java. Okay, and so very detailed information it has inside it. Okay, so it has all of your environment details. Okay, now let's look at the loggers. So these are the type of logs that it logging can log. Okay, like these are the levels of logger. If you want to generate it in debug mode or info mode, you can do that. And by default, configuration level, okay, different apps have these kind of loggings, like info level loggings in it. Okay, now let's go back and look at the metrics. So these are all of the metrics that are running inside it. Okay, you can further click okay, so here is one more endpoint, like schedule task. So here you can see what all tasks are scheduled, like what all cron jobs are configured in your application. So right now there is no one, but if there is any, so it should come here. Okay, mappings. So here it will show you all of the mappings related to your application. Okay, so these are all so that's how it gives you complete insight of your application that's up and running. Okay, so if you want to see, like here it is showing you 13 endpoints. Okay, and if you want to see only few of the endpoints in this, okay, so what you need to do, you need to go into application.properties file, and instead of star you can mention the name of matrix, like I want to see only beans and health in it. Okay, now let's restart the application. So here you can see this, I have added only two endpoints here. So in console you can see exposing two endpoints. Okay, now if I access this actuator, so we'll see only two endpoints here. So here it is giving us insight of only two endpoints, that is beans and health. So if I click on beans, I'll get all the beans that are running in the backend, and under health it will tell us about status of your application. That's how Actuator helps us in knowing the health of your application and what all beans are there, what is the matrix of your application, in which environment it is running. So each and every detail about your application you can get from Actuator. So it's very helpful tool for us. So here in this tutorial we have seen how Spring Boot Actuator helps us and what is the use of it. So that's it for now. In our next tutorial we'll cover about Spring Boot DevTools and why are they required and why do we need its dependency in all of the projects. Okay, thank you. Bye.